Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. Today, we're diving into an explainer on the absolute bedrock of premium hospitality. And whether you're running a tiny exclusive boutique property or managing a massive international resort, world-class service literally cannot exist without first guaranteeing a safe and respectful work environment for every single team member.
I am so pleased to officially welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. In this masterclass, we're going to guide you through highly practical real-world knowledge. This is the kind of stuff that aligns directly with top-tier hotel operations, and we are really looking forward to supporting your professional growth in the hospitality industry. All right, let's take a quick look at the agenda. We've got 5 core pillars today. Number 1, the foundation of hospitality. Number 2, discrimination versus harassment. 3 is fostering equal opportunity. 4, the chain of accountability. And finally, number 5, managing guest behavior challenges. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, the foundation of hospitality, focusing on dignity and safety as the bedrock. So think about the hospitality industry for a second. It is entirely unique, right? It relies heavily on constant, incredibly close interactions between colleagues and guests from vastly different backgrounds. Because of this high-touch, fast-paced environment, the potential for inappropriate behavior is, frankly, always there. It's not something you can just ignore. You have to actively manage it. Because if dignity and safety are undermined, well, it's like a giant puzzle. The entire foundation of your hotel's operation just begins to crack and fall apart. Moving right along to Section 2, discrimination versus harassment, where we'll define the boundaries. Okay, so under Libra law, harassment is defined as unwanted behavior that violates an individual's dignity. But wait, it goes a lot further than just the specific act itself. It's also really about the end result. We're talking about behavior that creates an intimidating or hostile work environment. It just completely dismantles the psychological safety a team absolutely needs to function. Now, notice the stark contrast here between harassment and discrimination. While harassment is all about unwanted behavior creating that hostile vibe, discrimination is specifically about treating someone less favorably because of a protected characteristic. Things like age, race, or gender. As future leaders, it is absolutely crucial that you grasp these distinct legal parameters. They are totally different offenses, but make no mistake, both are strictly prohibited by labor law. And labor law leaves absolutely zero room for ambiguity here. Discrimination is forbidden across the entire life cycle of an employee. I'm talking from the second you begin recruitment, right through decisions on promotion, pay, and training, all the way to termination. The whole shebang. Every single one of these stages must be handled with absolute fairness. But here's the tricky part. In daily operations, discrimination isn't always some glaring, obvious event. Actually, in hotels, biases can be incredibly subtle. They tend to sneak up in everyday operational decisions, like who gets the preferred shift allocations, or who is quietly being groomed for advancement opportunities. This is exactly why constant vigilance is essential. You've got to really look closely at the underlying patterns in your management decisions. We can break harassment down into 3 primary categories that you need to be trained to spot. First up is verbal. This includes inappropriate comments or slurs. Second is physical, so any unwanted contact or physical intimidation. And third, well, this one is often the hardest to catch, psychological harassment. This involves isolation, mind games, or just persistently undermining a colleague. You need to know exactly what to look for across all 3 of these buckets to protect your team. Which brings us to Section 3, fostering equal opportunity, the standard of excellence. Here's where we pivot from just preventing bad behavior to proactively driving excellence. You see, equal opportunity is not just some compliance checklist or a legal burden. It's actively creating conditions where all employees can succeed based entirely on merit. It goes way beyond simply avoiding discrimination. It means you, as a leader, are intentionally building a fair ecosystem where the best talent can rise to the top, regardless of their background. Deeply inclusive practices act as a direct driver of excellence. We are talking about triggering a 33% surge in innovation, a 34% elevation in service quality, and another massive 33% increase in employee satisfaction. To put that into perspective, those numbers are a real game changer. That is exactly how you build a sustainable, high-performing hotel. Let's turn to Section 4, the chain of accountability, employer and employee duties. To maintain these ultra-high standards, employers have to execute 3 mandatory steps. First, setting strict behavioral standards through crystal clear policies and training. Second, thoroughly investigating all complaints using reporting mechanisms that the staff actually trust. And third, taking immediate, decisive corrective action the second misconduct occurs. Now, I must emphasize a critical legal reality here. Labor law strongly favors proactive prevention over a reactive response. Failing to act can result in severe liability for the hotel, even if management didn't directly engage in the misconduct themselves. Ignorance or inaction? Yeah, that is not a defense. If you fail to prevent or address the harassment, the hotel is on the hook. But accountability is a two-way street, right? Employees also carry a really profound responsibility. They must actively respect all their colleagues. And just as importantly, they have a duty to report inappropriate behavior. But to make this work, leadership absolutely has to guarantee protection against victimization. Your team needs to feel 100% safe stepping forward without any fear of retaliation whatsoever. And that brings us to our final pillar, Section 5, Managing Guest Behavior Challenges, Protecting the Front Line. In hospitality, we always hear that old saying, the guest is always right. Well, actually, scratch that. That adage ends the exact second an employee's dignity is compromised. Employee dignity is strictly non-negotiable. Hotels have an absolute duty to protect their staff from harassment, and yes, that absolutely includes harassment coming from guests. Managing guest behavior is definitely a unique and highly sensitive challenge, but it has to be handled firmly. In fact, Europe Hotel School London explicitly highlights this kind of frontline protection as a critical hallmark of true hospitality leadership. Think of it as a core test of your capability as a manager. Will you stand up for your team and enforce boundaries with paying guests when they cross the line? True leaders absolutely do. So, to bring this all together, addressing harassment and discrimination, it isn't optional. It's absolutely essential for legal compliance, for ethical management, and for achieving true operational excellence. Mastering dignity and equality is the ultimate driver of a hotel's long-term sustainability. Without it, you just aren't going to retain top talent or deliver that premium service. Which leaves us with a final, vital question to chew on. As a future hospitality leader, stepping into these high-stakes, ultra-realistic hotel environments, how will you champion dignity and equality in your daily operations? Because, it's not just about what you know in theory, it's about what you actually do when you walk out onto the floor. Thank you so much for joining this Masterclass Explainer. Keep this question in the back of your mind as you continue your journey toward excellence in the hospitality industry.